I've received lots of messages recently asking about speculation that there might be changes to entry to specialty training. There might be changes to prioritisation for UK graduates. Eligibility might change, whether or not the CREST, the Certificate for Readiness to Enter Specialty Training, will be possible to be signed from outside the UK, or whether it will need NHS experience. What will be the requirement for how much NHS experience is required before you can actually apply? Now, I understand that lots of people are speculating about what may or may not happen. All we know is that the BMA has passed a motion supporting UK graduate prioritisation. The government have said that they're looking to prioritise UK graduates and those with NHS experience. Everything else, the detail of this, is not confirmed at all. We don't know, for example, when will it be implemented. We don't know whether there's prioritisation, that graduates without NHS experience will not be allowed to apply at all, whether they'll be able to apply but will be ranked lower because of prioritisation, whether they'll be eligible but only for round 2, round 3 rather than round 1, whether everyone can still apply but it would just change to the CREST that it will have to be signed with NHS experience, therefore introducing a requirement for NHS experience. All of this is just not confirmed. Someone specifically asked me, because there's all this speculation, they're just not sure, should they start preparing if they're thinking about sitting the MSRA and applying for specialty training to start in August next year. And I can completely understand why this would, cause some uncertainty. Because on the one hand, if you start preparing now, you might expend time, you might spend money on resources, and then if it turns out that actually they just changed the eligibility and they're not allowed to apply, they might feel that that time and money has gone to waste. On the other hand, if you wait until things are confirmed, there might be so little time left to prepare that they just can't get a good enough score that even if they are eligible now, they're just not going to get an offer. They're not going to score well enough to get an interview. They're not going to score well enough to get a job. So what should someone do? Ultimately, only you can decide. But what I would suggest to you is that if you want to have an option to try to start training in August 2026, start preparing now. So if it's a specialty, for example, that is portfolio based and you've got to do well at interview, work on your portfolio. You don't lose anything if they change your ability, because if you, for example, got involved in audit, that's a good thing, something to add to your CV, whatever type of job you apply for. Whether you're applying for a non-training job or for training, whether you're applying for training later on, you've got a head start on your portfolio. Similarly, if you start preparing for the MSRA and you're allowed to sit it, you're well prepared. If you're not, you've still gained knowledge. You revise lots of guidelines. Those are things that are going to help you when you start a job. The only thing you might have lost, yes, you will have spent some money on getting resources to prepare. But look at that as, there's a risk there, but the risk is probably bigger the other way, that if you wait until everything is absolutely confirmed, and that confirmation comes at a time where you just don't have enough time to now study with life going on, you've still got work, you might have other family commitments and so on, that you're allowed to apply, but you just can't prepare well enough to then get a job offer. And then you lose another year. And it's quite possible that some of these things won't kick in for next year, but will kick in the year after. Certainly, the longer you wait, the more likely that changes will be implemented. So what would I suggest? I would suggest, look, ultimately it's up to you. But if you want to at least have a shot for August, start preparing now. If you've decided, look, I just don't want to take that risk, that's fine, but you have to understand there is a risk the other way, that by the time you do get confirmation, that might mean that you just actually have no chance realistically to compete because you've just left it too late. Ultimately, only you can decide, but like I always say, prepare and you will succeed. Hope that's helpful.